Happy New Year 2023, everybody. We're just going to roll into this with no real intro. I've got a lot of stuff to get to. I actually made a couple of pages of notes here so that I didn't lose my place. This is the first video of 2023. I've been trying to talk about what's coming this year in the last few videos, hoping that over the course of a couple of videos, maybe everybody will have gotten the message and be on board so that, you know, people don't tune in this year and kind of get lost. But with that being said, let's kind of move along here. The thumbnail for this one is the plan, and that's what I kind of wanted to lay out for the coming year in this video. To sort of explain some of the things that I want to accomplish, some goals. I want to talk about some gear that's going to be coming up very soon. Actually, I should have, in the month of January, I should have my new equipment pretty much figured out. There might be a few little odds and ends here that I have to tweak. That is huge on my list. And then the other thing is, like I said, I'm going to go through and try and find my actual swing and not necessarily create a swing, okay? Lots of instructors have talked about finding your swing. There's nothing really new in golf. It's all been done before. There's nothing new to see here. There may be some new takes on some old stuff, but there's nothing really new. So it's not that I'm trying to create a swing. It's more along the lines of finding how my body needs to move in order to facilitate the club creating the proper impact setup scenarios for each and every different club for all the different types of lies. Now, I apologize. I meant for the very first video of this year to be me out on course, but the weather outside is not, it's just not cooperating. And what I hope to do with that video is to get an assessment. If you go to the doctor, the first thing they want to do is get your vitals and your baselines, and that's what I want to do on course for the very first video. But I'm making this video instead to bring you guys the content since the weather's not cooperating. But I talked about some goals, and I think my main goal is to get to a place to where I consider myself to be a very skilled golfer. And I mentioned this in another video, I think it was toward the end of it, that, you know, I don't feel very skilled. I feel semi-skilled. I feel like I have more skill than, say, an average golfer, but I don't feel very skilled. And by very skilled, I don't mean the level of the pros. I just mean very skilled for what's relative to me. The tee shot, the approach shot, around the greens, on the green, all the different areas of the game. I feel like you need to at least have one or two shots that you can call up and count on, say, 7 or 8 out of 10 times. And that's really what I'm looking for. I don't think I'm starting too far off of where I need to be. The problem is going to be that I've torn my swing apart 100 times over for all of these review videos that I've done, and I have no identity. And that's really one of the things, one of the main goals that I want to accomplish this year is to find my identity. What is my swing? Because I've never really been able to answer that question for all of you guys out there when you ask me. Now, like I said before, the gear in my bag is going to be a very big part of trying to achieve the goals that I have. The irons that I have, I love those irons, but they leave me with problems. I mentioned this in a previous video that the gapping between several of the irons in my bag, it's just not there. It's just not accurate, and the fact that they're cast clubs means that there's very little in the way that I can do to try and remedy that with that set of irons. And then my driver situation is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. I have a serious lack of distance with driver. A lot of that is due to my own swing speed and my swing, which I'm hoping will that'll be something that I get to work on this year and increase my club head speed, because I feel like it is very subpar to what I should be able to do physically. At my current stage with my current swing speed, there's only so much I can do, but I know that I can lower my spin rates, optimize my launch angles, and really with a custom fit driver, I think I can at least extract as much distance as I can out of my current swing. I'm pretty sure I know which driver I'm gonna go for, and there's a couple of reasons that I'll walk you through right now just quickly. I think I'm gonna go the way of PXG, and I believe it's probably gonna be the new 0311 PXG, because of the movable weights in the bottom of the head, and so when I get with a club fitter, I feel like they'll be able to kind of dial that in and get my ball flight straightened out, as opposed to the 0211, which doesn't have any adjustability whatsoever. It's just a forgiving driver. I'm not saying that I'm 100% locked into that, but I am really leaning PXG for the driver right now for the fitting that you can get, number one, but number two, just the value. The absolute value, the fact that their drivers are half the price of all of the other big name brands that are out there, just it just, to me, makes so much sense. And I like what PXG stands for. I love their company. I think they've got just a great approach. And I'm just really, in my deep dive and research that I've been doing the last few weeks and even a couple of months now, I really feel drawn to PXG with that. So that's probably the way I'm going with the driver. I actually have a new set of irons already coming to the house. They should be here next week sometime. I'm going to give you some hints, okay? We're going to try this. I'm going to give you some hints, and then I want you to guess down below and put in what irons you think I'm going to go with. And I currently have a cast set of irons that is a two-piece hollow body construction game improvement iron. I've been playing with those now for over a year. It's the Tommy Armour 845 iron, the reiteration from Dick's Sporting Goods, Golf Galaxy. And they are forgiving, they are longer, they give you more distance, but as I said, there's some gapping issues, and that's what I want to solve. So I think I am definitely going the forged route. Now, there's a difference. Forged, a lot of people use the term forged nowadays, and it's kind of misleading. So I want to be really clear about this. Some of the two-piece hollow body construction irons that they make nowadays, they call them forged, but really the face is the only thing that's forged. The rest of it is not forged, so they're still not as adjustable as a forged iron. I'd be very surprised if you could get very little movement out of loft and lie machines to try and bend those out. So I'm going with a true one-piece forged iron. That's hint number one. Number two is that there are different categories of irons. There's the game improvement irons, and then there's the player's distance irons, and then there are basically true player's irons. Now, true player's irons most of the time are going to be muscle backs / blades. I'm not going that far down, but I do want to come one tick down from game improvement irons to a player's distance iron. So what we're looking at is a one-piece forged iron with a cavity back, some forgiveness, maybe a little bit of tech in the head, but I want to be able to get those into the loft and lie machine, do gap tests, and then bend those as I need to in order to really dial them in and get my yardage gapping just right on point. And then from time to time, as I need to adjust, they'll be able to grow and change with me. So that's a couple of hints. I'll tell you, this is the last hint, however. The price of new sets of irons. I don't know if you've looked at them recently. Maybe my perspective is just completely skewed. But man, the price of irons today is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. Now, of course, you've got the direct-to-consumer, the DTC irons that are coming along. You got some of them actually leaving the market. Ben Hogan is one of them. It was a direct-to-consumer. It's gone. But there's plenty more coming in, these sort of boutique sets. And then you've got, you know, small-time companies that really have barely any market share at all, and they're mostly, I would say, for beginners to maybe half-intermediate players. And you can get price breaks those ways with irons that are going to be brand new. However, the used market is really still, in my opinion, it's just where it's at. You can get these hot, big name iron sets from a couple of years ago that now have just kind of lost their luster in the eyes of the consumers. They're just not the hot new item, but they were fantastic irons when they came out, and they still are and can be. So I'm definitely avoiding the big name, big box store, brand new irons. Those are off the table. That is not happening. I have a budget of about $500 for the irons. So there's another hint. There's your budget. And I'm not going to go back too far into the past. I'm not going to go back and get 10 or 15 or 20-year-old irons. That's not going to happen. I found some irons that actually have a pretty good match for the shaft that I take. I kind of know my iron spec, shaft specs on that. So I found those, and I am going to be regripping these, but they're going to be a forged cavity back players distance irons, and they are going to be used, and they're not going to be super old. They're just going to be, I think these are just a few years old, honestly, from all my research. And I've done a ton of research. This is what I wanted to tell you, is that I have read, listened to, sought after, searched, talked to people, spoken with people live. I have been going over this now for weeks. So this is not some fly-by-night, spur-of-the-moment decision. I really started here, and then I narrowed until finally I got down to the one and had to make a decision. And I think I got a really good deal on them. They're in really fantastic shape. It's going to be a 4 through gap wedge set. I don't really use a 4 iron, but I did want to have that gap wedge So I'm probably going to give up just a little bit of distance, and I think that that's totally fine as long as I gain a little bit of the control over those distances, and I can get my grouping to be at least where it is now, but hopefully a little bit better. So I think the consistency in the control is going to be worth it to give up a little bit of my distance. Leave me some comments down below. What set of irons do you think I landed on? Put it down in the comment section. And then one last thing and we'll wrap this up. I kind of want to get into the plan moving forward and just what I'm going to be doing to try and improve my game. I'm going to do a lot of work out here, that's for sure. Swing changes, trying to dial things in, trying to groove it, learn whatever movement or changes that I'm trying to do and get those to be repetitious in my head. I'm going to be working a lot out here, but I'm also going to be giving you guys some more course vlogs where I'm going out to try and prove what I've been working on, to prove my theories, to see if once I apply it in the real world, if it actually works out and if it's helping me or if I need to change directions. Additionally, I'll be showing you guys some short game work that I do, some bunker work around the greens, maybe some partial wedge shots, some putting work. I'll be showing you that stuff in the real world on courses as well. So this year I'm trying to get out from inside of the studio a little bit more than I did in 2022. But that being said, I hope to maybe put out at least one course vlog a month. If I can manage that, and maybe while I'm out there, I can also record some other stuff and make some videos. But I'm still going to be out here. I'm still going to be in the studio. I'm still going to be trying to review some certain things, you know, from time to time. But the main focus of my channel now is really going to be trying to take what I've learned and to see if I've actually learned anything or if I've just been spinning my wheels for all these years playing with all this different stuff. I like to think that I've been influenced by a lot of different great coaches out there. Some of them are from off the beaten path. They're lesser known, and I really like that. I like the underdogs, and I think that sort of out-of-the-box thinking is really fitting with me and my personality and what I identify with. So I'm going to definitely have the influence of what I've gone through and what I've read and what I've watched and what I've tried. I'm going to have influence from that, but at the end of the day, I want to play golf forever. I want to play golf forever. I've always said I can never hit enough golf balls in my life to satisfy my urge for hitting golf balls. There's never going to be enough. I want to play it forever. And I've got a lot of pains. I've got bad wrists. I've got problems with my back. I'm not going to sit here and name them all, but I've got some issues, and I know a lot of you guys out there do as well. Nobody walking around watching this channel, at least, is probably an Olympic athlete with no pains and no problems and no limited mobility. So I feel like this is going to be really relatable for a lot of you. I'm going to try and figure out solutions on how to minimize the amount of pain that I have to go through and minimize the potential for injury in a swing. There's a lot of torque and a lot of forces going on. So my swing, whatever I choose to develop, it's going to be something that's based more on gravity and momentum and taking a lot of that tension out and not putting myself and my body and my muscles into a position to where I can really injure myself, because as I said, I want to play golf forever. I hope you'll follow along. Maybe I'll have some good stuff for you that can apply to your game as well in this. I really want to kind of get to a position to where I feel, at least, that I'm a very skilled golfer, regardless of what anybody else might believe. I hope you stick around with me. Happy New Year to everybody, and I'll see you in the next video.